Hello and welcome to Stretford Paddock. My name is Joe. I am joined today by Alexis Nunes from ESPN. How are you doing?
Oh my gosh, how am I doing? How can we even answer that question? I am absolutely buzzing after that result because I'm not gonna lie, going into this match, I was expecting to get my behind handed to me. I'm not going to lie, even though of course we know that I guess right now playing at Old Trafford isn't the best thing, but literally, I mean, as Bruno said it after, it's probably one of the perfect performances or as close to perfect performances that we could have asked for from United, and we got that. Buzzing.
Yeah, really impressive one. And what was it that impressed you most about the game? Because we all knew City would have a lot of possession, and they did have a lot of possession, but they didn't really make many chances, did they? Were you impressed by United's defence?
That was honestly it for me because even of course going, as I was saying, that when we started and you get the early penalty and of course Bruno nets it, Bruno Fernandes.
Classic.
Classic. And I was just saying, geez, this is going to be an absolute onslaught from City now. I'm going to be holding my breath. And even for a little bit after that, obviously, when City was continuing to press, I could see United almost kind of drifting back a little bit. And I was like, no, we are not Jose Mourinho's United anymore. We are not Jose Mourinho's Chelsea. Do not just sit back and try to soak up the pressure and hang on like Fulham did against Liverpool earlier on today. But really and truly clinical. I mean, just Luke Shaw as well, defensively speaking. And I was hoping, especially with Dean Henderson in goal, I was like, please, please, please let the man get a clean sheet, please. And so said, so done. But Luke Shaw, I mean, absolutely outstanding. I was calling him Roberto Shawnaldo or Roberto Charlos.
Yeah, Shawlos.
Yeah. It was brilliant.
Yeah, it was impressive, wasn't it? And Luke Shaw going forward, it's like a different player to who he was last season. I don't quite understand how he's turned it around going forward so much. But you mentioned there Dean Henderson as well, who played a massive role in that second goal. He comes out and he collects the ball, he throws it out to Luke Shaw on that side, and obviously we break and the ball ends up going in. How impressive was he? And obviously De Gea's away, he's had a new baby, and Dean Henderson sort of has been given a chance to prove himself as United's number one. And in the big games like today, do you think he's made a case that even when De Gea comes back, it should still be Henderson in between the sticks?
Absolutely. I think so many people have been calling for Dean Henderson to absolutely just get the chance because, I mean, at least for us as well, even speaking with a lot of our analysts and stuff on the show for ESPN, the number one, I suppose, counter that anybody comes for Dean Henderson is that, is he ready though for the scrutiny, for the I suppose microscope that comes with being Manchester United's number one keeper? Yes, David De Gea obviously is not having the best of seasons, or probably the best of last two seasons, but he knows how to deal with it. It's nothing new for him, But Dean Henderson, as they were saying, you don't want to break his spirit because he's still quite young. He's still getting started, and being and doing all the amazing stuff that he did for Sheffield last time around last season. At United, we know it's a different kettle of fish. It's a different kind of criticism, a different kind of scrutiny. And other than that, I was saying that, well, how else is he going to get ready if you don't chuck him out there and give him that experience, and at least knowing that you do have, I suppose, I can use this word loosely because I'm sure people will question, but the comfort of, I guess if it's not Dean Henderson, it's still David De Gea that you're bringing in, and that still is a top name in the goalkeeping world. So I think by a performance like this, it does wonders for his confidence. It does wonders for his stature and just his stock and I think this is definitely Dean Henderson's time. Let David De Gea have all the time in the world to enjoy his newborn. Love daddies that are there. Big girl dad, as Kobe Bryant would say. Take your time, David, and let Dino kind of step into that spotlight and take the good with the bad, because I'm sure the bad will come too.
I saw a stat just after the game that of all the managers that Pep Guardiola has played more than 5 times, I think Ole is the only one who has got a winning record over Pep Guardiola. Are we allowed to say, is it fair to say that Ole has got Pep's number at this point, that he knows how to beat Pep Guardiola?
He has him in his back pocket. Oh my God. It's crazy that we're absolutely saying that. I just did as well post-match hits, and with our analysts, one of the things that they said, when you ask, because obviously looking at this kind of result, and I mean, does it hurt Man City that much? No, it's still their title to lose by all means. I mean, Does it hurt Man United? Of course it doesn't hurt Man United, but does it help that much? I don't expect, unless something really terribly goes wrong with City, to go, you know, pushing for the title. But I think it's like, it's more significant for Ole, I think, than anybody else, because I think it's time that people definitely still start to put a bit more respect on Ole's name, not just as Manchester United manager right now, because I feel like so many people are still saying, yes, he may be the right person right now, but if Poch were still single tomorrow, so many people would be jumping on the Poch, you know, boat, myself included. Now I think with a result like this and the recent record that he's had, at least against Pep and Manchester City, I think there's something there, or there's enough there to kind of start to make us think that maybe Ole could be the right man for a lot longer than we're giving him credit for. I mean, whether it's long-term, I mean, who's a long-term manager in football nowadays, you know?
Yeah.
That's so rare. But I think for those that were ready to, like, you know, probably give him until the end of the season, and or maybe like half of next season, I think we can start, if this continues and this rebuild continues going, I suppose, the way it is, I think you should put some respect on Ole's name and probably start thinking of him as more than just a short-term manager for Man United.
Definitely. It felt like a game as well today of like people overcoming records or bad runs. Like, obviously, Ole this season, we hadn't got a win against the top six or the big six. I mean, against the top six we had, but the old traditional big six, we hadn't got a win. Bruno seemed to be struggling to score again against those big six teams. And I mean, even down to Martial, who won the penalty, who's not been great at all this season. He chipped in, like I said, by winning the penalty. It seemed like we'd sort of proven a lot of people wrong. Of course, breaking City's 21 win in a row record as well. And that's 22 undefeated away from home for United now. Do you feel like this was, like you said, it's not going to necessarily make the difference in the league or in terms of who wins the title, but mentally, a lot of things were sort of overcome today by United, and maybe it could be sort of give us a lot more confidence for the rest of the season than just, oh, well, you know, we're 11 points behind instead of 14.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Because, I mean, for example, when you're looking at the end of the day, this is a derby, and you talk about it like the rule, you know, the format goes out the window. Like, you show up for matches like these, it really shows you know, that the team was able to obviously hold a certain nerve again from going up early away from home against a City that, you know, wanted to stretch out United, wanted to, you know, press United. And it was interesting how, you know, I think even Gary Neville said it in the second half, how it was interesting to see that City were the ones looking a bit leggy, looking a bit tired, like, you know, from doing what they do best, you know, and the fact that United were able to frustrate them. And like you said, bringing on people or having people like Tony Martial, who I rate very highly. I'm also a huge fan of, you know, Tony Martial FC. I will be there with my banner and my croissants and anything that he needs to put in some brilliant performances. And today was just, I think he was just missing that goal to cap it off as a perfect performance. I know he did have a chance, like so close right in front there. And I guess we can, some say, you know, that's where you slam him again and this is why, and this is why. But also, I guess we can forgive him because he has been probably low on confidence. We know that he is a bit of a emotional kind of player. So when the good days are good, it's super good. But when they're bad, you know, you can see it in his demeanor and the way in which he plays. So I think that it was good for him to get a good performance like that. And I hope it does come up. Bruno, I mean, netting penalties, that's something that I hope he does with his eyes closed. But you're right, against a big team, because I remember even after, you know, the Chelsea match, people were getting on my case going, oh, where's your superstar now? Where's the guy that you said in the preview has been the top impact player for Man United? Where is he now? You know, and then, of course, follow that up, even though a 0-0 draw against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, I thought was still a decent result for United. But then came, you know, against Crystal Palace, and you're like, I'm still wondering if that result even happened. It was almost like, why are we doing this again? You know, so I think to at least follow up those two stalemates with a big performance like what we saw today was absolutely needed. And I hope that it just helps momentum going forward, not just in the league, but like in the cup competitions as well, because I think there's definitely some silverware to be had if we do keep playing like this.
And at the risk of being a little bit spiteful, there's part of me that hopes that this will maybe knock City's confidence and affect one of their chances of getting a treble or some sort of title, you know, Champions League, FA Cup, all that sort of thing. Hopefully their confidence will be knocked a little bit as well. It's weird, isn't it? Like I said about Bruno, he's got as many goals as anyone in the Premier League since he arrived in England, and more assists than anyone. And yet, still, people find a way to criticise him. And he's not very good in these games. It's just ridiculous, isn't it? Finally, then, before we go, I mean, that's a massive result. On the downside, the only potential difficulty, we saw Luke Shaw potentially pull up with a bit of an injury, and Marcus Rashford as well. How concerned are you about those two? Obviously, Rashford, United's second top scorer this season. Does that worry you, or do you sort of think, well, hopefully we'll be able to play through it, and we may have some people coming back as well to replace him?
Do you know, 50-50, I mean, on those, I feel like on paper, people would probably say Marcus Rashford, obviously my prime minister, is the one that worries you the most. I can say that because I'm Jamaican, so I can't even vote here in England. But Marcus, if you want to be the prime minister of Jamaica, anytime.
I agree.
Yeah, I think on paper you would say Marcus, because this is Marcus Rashford, you know. But I think for so long, especially, we, at least looking on paper, when the team comes out, we know the attacking prowess that we do have, although I still believe we need to be more clinical in front of goal and taking more of the chances, because, you know, you're seeing it in so many matches where we would have hoped to probably have win maybe 3-4-0 sometimes, and it ends up being either a 1-0 or a 2-0, which is fine because you still get the result. But I think defensively, the fact that United has made leaps and bounds defensively says a lot. There's still so many questions about the centre-back pairing, I know, and that is a debate that we can sit here and talk about until tomorrow probably. But I'm more concerned about Luke Shaw. I think Luke Shaw, in the form that he is in right now, the momentum that he brings, the work rate that he brings, and obviously now that he's, you know, kind of doing little things, bare things in the attack as well, he's someone that we absolutely cannot lose. Like, if I have to chop off my leg and give him my leg tomorrow, then take it, Luke. Like, take what you need. I'll say it for Marcus as well. But right now, I think I would probably be a lot more worried for Luke Shaw, just based on the absolute blazing form he's been in.
Yeah.
And knowing his track record with injuries, that's the last thing that we want. Not even a niggle, not even a sore cramp or anything. I don't want anything. Wrap him in bubble tape, wool, everything that we have to. Because Luke Shaw is someone that I absolutely do not want to go back to square one with. And I think he's put in so much work as well, that he deserves to not have to get any setback right now.
Yeah, brilliant. Right, thank you, Alexis, so much for joining us. Let people know where they can find you on social media as well before we go.
Sure, yeah, you can find me on Instagram. That's the one I use the most. It's Alexis E. Nunes with an S. And of course, you can check all of the ESPN FC social media accounts too. Usually we're there. We have a couple of exciting chats coming up. Might be one United related. I don't want to get everyone too excited, but once I do know, I will tell you guys, because maybe we'll take a question or two from you guys to ask said individual.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And we'll get you the link to your Instagram in the description below. Thank you once again for joining us. Man United, we all know it by now. We've beaten Manchester City 2-0. A fantastic result for Manchester United. If you aren't subscribed, make sure you do subscribe. Get your comments in below as well. What did you think to that performance? Thank you again, Alexis, for joining us, and we'll see you in a bit.